Hey, this is Rob, and this is episode 34 of the Folly Coffee Podcast. Let's get it brewing. All right, so for this episode, I have Bradley Taylor of Stewed Nuts. Oh, nope, that's not right. It's now The Donut Trap, formerly called Stewed Nuts and Donuts. That's when I met him. I first met Bradley outside of Brit's Pub in Minneapolis. He was selling some donuts and cold brew out of his donut truck. Met him, started following him on Instagram. I was like, this guy is hilarious. And that ended up leading to like this kind of like unofficial partnership we have of like pop-ups. We did this Instagram influencer event that kind of kicked off the whole social media front on Instagram for Folly. He now does like real estate on the side. This guy is super busy, like super driven, and one of the few people that acts on stuff like faster than I do. Also, a heads up, if you're not into swearing, this episode is probably not for you because Bradley is about as filtered as a French press. Ha-ha, coffee joke. So enjoy. All right, cool. So we are rolling.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, we are live.
Oh.
So I'm live here with Bradley. I don't even know how to introduce him these days. If it would have been a year ago, I would have said Bradley of Stewed Nuts. But he's changing what he's doing like every other day. And so why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Bradley Taylor. I'm the owner, founder of the Donut Trap, previously named Stewed Nuts. I do real estate investing, fucking father of two. Can we curse on this shit?
I don't care, yeah.
Father of two and a husband, or whatever, just out here working and twerking and trying to get checks and shit.
Yeah, so Bradley's one of the day one Folly guys. I don't even remember how we met, but we ended up. I think I just hit you up.
It was outside of Target. You remember? It was you and your home dudes. I was on the truck, I think. And then I was like, yo, try this Coca-Cola infused cold press.
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, yeah, you were outside of, the Target right across from, what's the place with the lawn bowling? The British pub.
Yeah. I don't even know.
Brit's Pub.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, you were serving cold brew out there. My buddy was in from Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he loves Coca-Cola because he's from Atlanta. And you were like, try this Coca-Cola cold brew. And that's how we met. And I started following you on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then when we launched Folly, we did that social media influencer event. And that's really like the first time we kind of hung out at length, where we had like a bunch of influencers.
We gotta do that again, though.
Yeah, we do though. So at Lynn Lake Brew, we just shot out an invite to like every influencer we knew in the Twin Cities. Like 40 people showed up, and that's really the first time that Folly kind of made a presence on social media. That was a huge start. Yeah, because I mean at that point we probably had like 400 followers on Instagram.
Now you got like what, 10,000?
Yeah, we got 13,000 last time I checked.
Dude. Fucking out here. I don't even fucking know what you were fucking pumping that shit. When I was like, damn, how the fuck this dude gets so many followers, dude? But you always working, dude. You always in the field. So
I'm trying.
That surprised me.
I'm trying. Yeah, and so Bradley just makes like the best donuts. What do you even call the style of donuts? Because you have two different styles: the square ones that are a little bit more like the raised donuts, and then you got the circular ones that. What do you call that style?
The circular ones, like our cake donuts, and then we got our vegan donuts. Yeah.
Then you got the vegan donuts.
Yeah.
So, what led you up to starting a donut food truck? Like, where are you from originally?
I'm from Compton, California, in Redondo Beach as well. If we want to be specific, we say South Central, and shit, in Redondo. From out there, moved to Minnesota to attend a U, and shit like that. Just for a change, it's hard to leave Cali. Obviously, you get spoiled by it, and I just felt like I was like healing my ceiling, just wanted something new, whatever. So,
What were you studying at the U?
Before I transferred to the U, I was studying nursing. Like, that was my goal, actually, like, to be, the world's greatest male nurse, RN, nurse practitioner, nurse anesthesiologist, and I was like, yo, I'm good. This is what I want to do, and then when I came to you, like, whatever, because of credits and stuff like that, they were like, yo, you can, especially instead of transferring in spring, they were like, well, you missed the acceptance date for nursing, so that you're a whole nother semester behind, and then you gotta make up this and that. And I was like, I'm not staying here for like, another 4 years to get my BA. So I just did sociology, and then with the intent to go into their master's of nursing program, which was only 2 years.
Now we should clarify that University of Minnesota, because if you're from Minnesota, it's the U. If you're anywhere else, the U is Miami.
Right, exactly.
So you finished up your time in Minnesota. Was your plan to stick around at the time?
I don't know. I feel like as I started, dipping and dabbing, getting to know the city here and there, I was just like, dang, dude, here I am from California to Minnesota. I feel like I've been successful here. I want to go somewhere new, and like I was like looking at different, because that's how, sometimes people look at it shit as like different conferences. I didn't really care so much about like the independent school. I was like, I want to be in this conference. So it's like I was looking like at the SEC conference, and stuff like that, because I wanted to go down south, and I have family down there anyway. So that was gonna be my next move, and then a couple of things came up that let me to stay here. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
And so, what led from you being at the U to starting a donut truck? And was the truck the first move?
No, we actually had a full blown shop. So leading up to that, and I'll kind of like take a step back.
Yeah.
So being in California, there's two things that kind of dictate a neighborhood and determine that area is like a liquor store. Because back in Cali, it's like a liquor store isn't just like serves liquor, which is something that was weird for me when I first came here. Right. Liquor store is a full blown grocery store, meat store, whatever you need, and stuff, and they sell alcohol, obviously. And it's also like the hub of what's happening in that area, the neighborhood, so forth, whatever. And then a donut store. So it's like those two just went hand in hand. And just being exposed to so many different donuts, and stuff like that, like I started getting like just going to a donut store and just be like, dang, this dough tastes different from that dough. This tastes different from that. That glaze tastes different than that as I got older, and stuff like that. And I didn't really understand those notions until like I was like about to graduate high school, because like I moved in with my auntie in Inglewood, and literally 5 minutes away from her was Randy's Donuts. So like literally my nights would be like I would drive to LMU, we'll get wasted, and then I'll come back to like Randy's Donuts. It'd be like 3-4 a.m. And shit, when they're just making them. I'll just like sit and drunkenly talk to the person there, and stuff like that. And like Randy's was always good. They're really unique and stuff like that. And he taught me like the importance of dough, and stuff like that. It's like there's a reason like we've been here this long, and stuff like that. And it's like anyone can make a donut, but the foundation of it is the dough, and that always stuck in my head. And then when I moved here, I was like, where's the donut shops at, and stuff like that. I had like, people were like, yo, to get donuts, you have to go to the grocery store or the gas station. I was like, that's a no-no.
Right, that's what I was going to say. I feel like as a kid, if you said donuts, it's just whatever grocery store you shop at, grab a 12 or 13 pack, and that's what you got.
Yeah, those shits are disgusting, dude. But I was just like, I just don't do that shit, dude. And I just went about my way, just like, I just cut donuts out of my life. Because I was like, I'm not selling for that shit, and whatnot. I just couldn't, no matter how drunk, high I was, whatever. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So like when I would go back to Cali, I'll just grub out and shit, like whatever. But it didn't really get serious until I want to say my senior year.
And what year was that?
This like 2012, 13, I think, maybe 2013, I think. And I had like a bunch of free time, and stuff like that. So I was just like, yo, fuck it, I'm just gonna make my own donut, and stuff like that. So I just started thumbing through like Pinterest, different recipes and stuff like that. And I don't know, Pinterest was just fake as hell to me, and stuff like that. Like, it's like, it doesn't really show you, it just shows you the steps, and then all of a sudden you have this perfected looking, product, and whatever. So I went through a lot of those and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until like my homegirl's friend, whatever, like mom's back in Arkansas, and stuff like that. She was like, yo, like she bakes all the time. She sent me a recipe, and it's funny because looking back at it, I don't know if it was exactly a donut recipe, but like I started messing with it, and like for like a month, maybe a couple months, was just like getting it like every day, and stuff like that. And then I got it to where I really liked it, and then I was just like, okay, every Sunday I'll make myself a dozen donuts, and stuff like that. And then the homies start getting word of it. And then next thing you know, like you wake up in the morning and it's like, yo, me and who were coming over, next Sunday. But then it's just like a bunch of motherfuckers that you just don't know.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm like, I'm just like, yo, dude, like, if I'm sitting here, like, just getting feedback from all these dudes, you know, and it's like a lot of my friends, like, they're from everywhere, you know, and stuff like that. Not just Minnesota, but it's like from Texas and shit, like food places, you know, and shit. So it was like really cool getting their feedback and like honest feedback and stuff like that. And then obviously after we graduate and motherfuckers start getting jobs, and it's like that's when the orders start coming in. It's like, yo, like I got a plug on donuts, like I want some for the office, and I'm just sitting here like slaving, you know, like it's donuts are not like you can't just make them anytime. Like it's that weird like gap of like early mornings, late nights, like type shit, and it's just not a cool whatever.
Yeah, because if you don't make them at the right time, you're not getting them to the customer fresh, and they're just not gonna be good.
Literally,
yeah.
You know, and I don't know, but
So at this point, are you like, do you have your license of any sort?
No,
or you're just slinging out of your kids?
I'm trapping out my apartment, dude. Like literally, it's like you hit me, and I come down with the dozen, and it's just like that's what's up. Yeah. You know, that's why it's so funny looking back at it, like why I renamed Student Nuts to Donut Trap, because just like from the food truck I always called it the mobile bando, like, and then I literally felt like I was like legit just trapping out in my apartment, you know, and stuff like that. So yeah, it fits right now. But I think my thing was though, I was just like, dude, if I'm sitting here doing, and top I had like a job too, you know, and shit. I was like, if I'm sitting here and slaving and doing these hours, I was like, how do I know if I'm making money? You know, it's different, you know, buying a shirt where it's like you can look at, it's like, here's a shirt that's $5 and then this and that, and then your finished product and what you all have into it.
Because no one's teaching you this stuff. No one's showing you how to break down costs and all that.
But like for me, like, I mean, I always like hustle shit, you know, like and whatnot. Like I had a t-shirt line, I had this and that, but like the way that you broke down always made sense. Like with food, I was like, this completely out of my fucking like realm. Yeah. I don't know, like, how am I supposed to know how much a unit, like, the unit cost of a teaspoon of cinnamon is supposed to be. Yeah. Like, I was like, how the fuck do you figure that out? Yeah. You know, like, and shit like that.
Like, what margin to work at. That's the weirdest thing to me is to this day, like, even with Folly, I'm like, I'm pretty sure our margins are where they should be, but that's based on random stuff that I read that random people, it's just like, oh, this is what it should be. There's no reason, but it should be.
Exactly. And it's like with food, dude, it's like, it's different. Like, for you, it could be like the Amazon could fucking be burning down, you know, where you're getting sourcing whatever type of beans, and it's like, next thing you know, you wake up, you're saying supplier is like, yo, a quarter acre of my shit burned down. Those beans that you're paying for that pound just double. Yeah. You know, and shit.
Oh, yeah, that's a very real thing right now with coffee. We started when commodity prices were really, really low, and commodity prices are what determine price of beans. Right. So I was told when we started, it's like, hey, these prices could reasonably double in the next year. Like, don't base your pricing off of this. Right. And I was at the time. And so we kind of were able to figure out a way. Yeah. How were you determining what to sell to all? And so at this point, it's just like friends, family, word of mouth. How are you determining what price to sell at?
Well, I think I was just like looking at like what, just online, you know, what boutique places were, and it's like, okay, you know, dudes are selling donuts for like $4. And it's like, all right, well, I have no overhead. I have none of this. So a good entry level for me would be like, you know, $3 or whatever, you know, and shit, like, and whatnot. But, yeah, like, I think, like, my wife, Ashley, she was just like, dude, like, go talk to someone, you know, and shit. And then that's when I came to meet, Alec, who's my mentor, and I still fuck with him today, you know, who's the owner of Potter's Pasties, you know, like, and he just lived right on Como, like a couple blocks from me, and I remember like just always passing his place and seeing like that British like food truck and Mini Cooper and stuff like that, and I was like, dope. And I remember I just walked in there one day and was like, yo, I am doing these donuts and I'm getting orders and I'm working my ass off. I don't know if I'm making money out, if there's any way I can help, if you could teach me, you know. And I talked to one of his employees, and then he was like, yeah, I'll just leave a message with them. And never thought, you know how that shit works when it's like, whatever. And then
you can tell when somebody's writing you off when you're talking. Right, you're halfway through a conversation. Don't even worry about it.
But I gave him my name and number, and then literally the next day, like, home dude emailed me and was like, come down, you know, and shit. And Alec is a fucking hard ass, you know, and shit. Like, he's from here. He spent a lot of his time overseas, like, chefing, like, legit chefing, like, in great restaurants and stuff. So like, he taught me everything from the ground up, you know. First time coming here, it was like, here's 50 pounds of potatoes, here's carrots, here's this, that, chop that up. And it's like, learning those little intricacies of how to save money and time. Like I'll be chopping an onion, and he'd be like, Bradley, you know, when you're moving, he was like, especially in food industry, he was like, time is really money because your margins are so slim. He'll like be like, yeah, you're chopping your onion like this, and then he'll be like, yo, go like this and chop it like that, and that'll shave like 0.5 seconds off, like literally.
Yeah.
And like I still do that like now, like, you know, and shit. When it's like whether I do flour or sugar, you know, it's like, yo, we gotta do, there has to be a more efficient way, you know, and stuff like that. And he always giving me bits of stuff like that. He'd be like, if you want a good margin, it's like at 33%, you know, and stuff like that. And like, you want to be operating this, you want to, if you can't, always have more than one place to go, you know, and stuff like that. Because I remember one day, this dude was fucking pissed, dude, like pissed. And I was like, why are you so upset? And he was like, butter is fucking triple the amount per pound right now. So it's like right now a pound of butter costs more than a pasty. Like, and ironically, at the same time, down the street at the state fair, they're having a national butter carving contest, you know, and shit. And I was just like, oh shit, I never, like,
well, it's difficult to understand at the consumer level because a small business, in theory, if your cost of ingredients goes up, you reflect it in the end pricing, and your customer understands the reason this costs more because our ingredients cost more. But what really happens is large businesses are able to absorb those costs knowing that they will come down someday. Yeah. And so the pricing of everything is determined by large companies that never reflect price of ingredients.
Right.
And it's really challenging. Yeah. And you try to communicate it, but it's just, to a certain point, it's just not possible.
Right.
And as a small business, you go, I really hope this goes down in time to be able to not go out of business, because there are times where you're like, if we sell this, we're losing money.
Yeah, exactly, too. And like, you know, and you have to be innovative, right? You know, and shit. Like he'll say, okay, if I cut my shit with butter with, you know, maybe Crisco and stuff like that, or whatever, I'll get the same thing, but not, you know, whatever. And just being innovative too, like learn, like especially donuts and, you know, coffee and stuff like that. Like coming up with different flavors and stuff like that is imperative, especially for donuts, you know, and stuff like that. Like he would tell me like how to use stuff that's around you, you know, what you have and fucking just make something completely new out of this.
And so were you like formally working for him at this time?
Or was I wasn't getting paid at all.
Almost like an apprenticeship kind of deal.
Apprentice straight up. Like I wasn't working for him at all. Like all my shit was just free, you know, and whatnot. Like and whatever. But it paid off. He gives me a sexy ass deal for kitchen space and shit like that. So I can't argue with that. Especially the location and where it's at, you know. And especially he still feeded me fucking, you know, hella wisdom and stuff like that. And then so I think one thing, trying to go backtrack, like, so when I got out of that with the donuts, how I elevated that was I have a space now, an actual licensed space, you know, so no trapping out of the apartment, goodbye. I'm glad I got my apartment back too, you know, and then also to a teacher and an understanding of how to structure the business.
And so that space at the time, that was from him?
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely.
And with that, now that I was able to manufacture even more donuts too, drove that cost down, you know, as well, which was cool. Instead of being able to proof only, you know, 6 donuts in my little oven, I was able to proof like 5 dozen, you know, and shit like that, which is crazy. But from there, I was like, okay, how can I distribute my donuts, which was like the second problem I was having, you know, and stuff like that. And at first, it was like I could do delivery, you know, just straight up hit the number, I'll bring you donuts. And for like a week, we tried it, and I was like, nah, because I was leaving so many people out, you know, and stuff like that. And then two, it's just like, it wasn't consistent. You know, you make five dozen and you might sell 4 dozen and have a dozen left, or you might just run out super quick, right? Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't like that model. And then back in Cali, when I had my t-shirt line, we started doing pop-ups and stuff like that. And I was just like, let me do that, you know, and let me do it in a way that makes it easy for our target market, which was straight college kids, because Tinky Town was right there. Mm-hmm. And in a way that I could still work with the community. So I started approaching like a lot of business owners in Tinky Town. And one person that we made friends with was, damn, how can I forget his name? I think his name was Mike. But it wasn't even like a real shop. It was like a franchise or some shit. And he could have gotten in a lot of trouble for that. But he was like, he sent, like, I just told him what's up, what I want to do. And he like sent me an email. He was like, yo, I'm willing to try this out, you know, and stuff like that. And literally, I remember it was right before break or something, because it was winter. And I was like, all right, shit. So I threw up, I like photoshopped like a little, like, I guess what would they call them? Like a club, like, you know, those cards that people go, yeah, you know, that shit, yeah. So I did that and I just put it on Facebook and I was just like, yo, donut pop-up shop at here and here and then between those times. And I was just like, it was weird when I first saw someone comment on it. I was like, what the fuck? I don't even know this person.
Yeah, I had that same thing.
Yeah.
You like texting your friends, you know who that is?
Yeah.
Like, no, I think that's just a person who knows your donuts.
Exactly. So it was just, it was weird. And then like, I think by leading up to it, maybe like 3 people or something like comment on it. I was like, fuck, this is going to be a disaster. But like when we opened it, shit was booming, dude. It was like fucking like a shit ton of people, and even like Mike was like, fuck, bro, like this shit is crazy. And we sold out everything in fucking like 40 minutes, you know, or something like that. It was crazy, you know, what I thought at that time was the most donuts I ever made. Yeah. You know, so I thought I made like a quick couple $100, and I was like, oh shit, you know, and whatnot. And I was just like, all right, like people fuck with my shit, or not even that, it was like people bought it. I was like, real test, like how they're going to return and like what the feedback is. Yeah. And then next time we only did it once because he was like, I can't be fucking, you know, like,
yeah,
I can't
well,
be doing
and
shit.
that's it's funny you say that, because I think a lot of people would think in doing business like that you're like, oh, we do a pop-up, you sell it, it's successful. But there's this anxiety you get after you sell your first batches where you're like, just selling the one thing isn't going to be success. It's got people got to really like it, right. And so it's like you sell it, and the anxiety is not gone because now you're like, do people actually like what I gave them?
Right, exactly, dude. So like I think I was like, okay, thank you for giving me this platform, you know, and shit. So word was out, you know, and stuff like that. And another thing I was worried about is like, you know, we're going on winter break for for like a month, you know, and shit. So whatever, did that. Came back and was talking to a couple other people. I think we did it in Alpha Print Shop. Yeah, that's when shit really started booming, because like my thing was like, I'm just a dude, you know, I don't have any leverage, no name to me, no whatsoever, you know, and shit. So I was like, let me go to businesses that kind of like, you know, were like not on the downhill, but it's like people just walk past, you know, and shit.
Well, in businesses where it's going to be a benefit to have donuts out front, because I see that with other pop-ups. They like approach restaurants or they approach bars, and it's like, hey, guess what? If somebody eats a donut outside a restaurant, they're going to spend less at that restaurant. If I pop up somewhere and they get a coffee, they're going to buy one thing less in there. Exactly. And so a print shop might not make sense, but it's like, guess what? If somebody comes and buys it as a donut, it's going to benefit that business because now they got traffic out front. Right. And it gets the name out there without detracting. Like, you're not stealing sales from it, which seems so simple. But, like, you hear about places people are popping up and you're like, you know, you're like taking business from. They're doing it just to be nice versus actually providing a benefit, and that business wants you to be back.
Exactly, Sue. And that's exactly what happened. Like, just eliminating that non-competing factor, you know, and flipping it over his head. So I was just like, went in, I was like, yo, like, it's a print shop. And no one knew about this place, dude. I walked by this place even when I was going to school. I'd be like, and then just keep going, you know, and shit. And this was like super run down. The dude who owned it run it for years and years, you know, and like it was stuck in time and shit. And I was like, yo, I can guarantee you know, a lot of foot traffic. Like, instead of people going to, you know, the different print shops and stuff, like even on campus, like, you know, coming from Dinkytown, I would go to the print shop. Well, the nearest one I knew was like on West Bank, which was fucking like 10-15 minutes extra walk from, like, you know, whatever. I was like, if I would have knew that I could fucking just get my shit here, you know, like, fuck it, you know, whatever. But he was like, yeah, okay, you know, and shit like that. And we started setting up shop, and like shit was just like lines just wrapped around the corner. And that's when shit really started picking up, when I was like in, you know, the newspaper and shit like that. Not even like newspaper, but like, what the fuck they called, the daily, I felt bad.
At Minnesota?
Yeah, or whatever. Like, we got a couple articles of us, and like students who were doing like, you know, their like marketing students will come through and do like use us projects and fucking, you know, advertising major, whatever, you know, shit. We're like, we want to interview. I got an interview for this product, you know, and shit. And it was just like, word just started reverberating through like the local circuit like crazy, you know, and shit. And then I was just like, okay, like this is cool, I get it. And like we're just doing it every weekend, every like Friday. It was just like that, selling out, you know, whatever. Demand just getting bigger, so I was just like, fuck it, let's just go get a shop, you know, and shit. And it was like the shop right by Annie's Parlor that's been vacant for a minute. Which was funny because that was the original place of underground printing was that originally gave us our first spot. And had to convince the dude who owned it. I won't say his name because I don't fuck with that nigga. And like, it was just like, all right, cool, I'll give you a shot. And shout out to him for doing that, you know, and stuff like that. And we know what we're doing. Me and Ashley were in over our heads. She just graduated, you know, and shit. And on top of that, we had a kid, you know, and stuff like that. So like literally she's like pregnant all throughout college, and then the moment she gets her diploma, it's like she literally leaves stage and then goes open up a business, you know, and shit. And we had no idea what we were doing. We just knew that we had a good product, and that like I knew exactly who my target audience is, and I knew them throughout. Like I knew exactly how I wanted to get to these fools, and that's all I knew. You know, I didn't know really anything about rent, this and that, you know, and I credit Ashley for handling all that, and she still does to this day, and let me be me. And yeah, so we got the spot half-ass decorated and shit, but people just fucked with us, dude. Like shit was really blown up within like that first year. Is like, you know, whatever sales and shit, but like the accreditations that we're getting, it's like we got ranked best donuts in, you know, Minnesota or Minneapolis, whatever the fuck it was. We're like on huge like fucking like nationally like articulate like fucking, I don't even know, like magazines and stuff like that. And it was just gnarly. It was a lot coming, you know, fucking on WCCO and all these different shows, and it was just like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, you know. And like it was a lot to take in, you know, and stuff like that. And then
so what happened?
I mean, we just kept going.
Yeah,
shit just kept going. Like we were learning as we were going, you know, and shit like that. And like sales just kept going up. Like people kept fucking with us, because I was like, dude, on top of that, I was like, all right, I want to start distributing. Like I'll go low key, like start hiring like interns, like from students, you know, and shit. Yeah. Just give them things. But like, yo, you're a graphics intern, like fuck with us on this. Like, you know, you take pictures, fuck with us on this. You do this. And it was just like, yo, it was crazy. And like, you know, one of my favorite things was like, well, I was simple like 4 interns, and like we'll make like a bunch of donut holes, because that was nothing to make. Yeah. And we'll just like send them out throughout campus, and like just pop in the middle of class and like drop off like 100 donut holes. People like, who the fuck is this? Like, where you get these from? You know, and like all this shit is just coming back. You know, we're throwing like parties and fucking local artists and shit in the shop. You know, and it was like, shit was crazy. Yeah, like it was something always popping. You know, like always popping there and stuff like that. And we're just so plugged into the culture and the scene there that it's just like people just fucked with us, like you know, and stuff like that. And everything was just going really well. And then that's when my fucking landlord at the time like just snuck this and was in talks with Tim Hortons and shit, which I didn't even know who Tim Hortons was. Yeah. Like, you know, and stuff like that. And I remember this like very, very vividly, because like we've done a couple of interviews with the Star Tribune. I had some people that I kind of knew there from just us interviewing there and shit. And he called me and was like, Bradley, have you checked the permits and see what's going on next to you? Because that building next to us used to be Brugger's. And Brugger's was still paying the lease on a 10-year lease. You know, they're in like year lease number 4. And he's still getting money, you know, on this building and shit like that, even though it's been vacant, empty, right?
This isn't the building you're in, the one across the street.
No, it's a 3-plex building.
Oh, okay.
All under the same roof. And he was like, dude, I just saw Tim Hortons pull the permit next to your building, bro. And I was like, well, what the fuck is Tim Hortons? You know, like, I don't know shit about Tim Hortons. Yeah. Instantly, Ashley's looking it up. And because he was like, well, you might want to check, but I got to go. Then Ashley's looking it up, and all I see is just donuts. Like, donuts and coffee, and coffee.
It's like Canada's Dunkin'.
Like largest place, and she's like, oh my god, and shit like that. She's like, is this real, and shit. And I called him instantly, my landlord, and I was like, yo, I heard from some credible sources that you're putting this up, he told me, he was like, yeah, we are, but he was like, they're not a donut chain, they're like McDonald's or whatever. Hella downplayed it. And I was just like, as soon as he said that, I was just like, I can't fucking trust this dude, and shit, because we're on month-to-month lease. And we're about to sign a 5-year lease, and shit, because we were just like, whatever at this point. And as soon as he said that, I was like, I can't trust this dude, and shit. And we were just, that was like some of the most stressful times in my life, because I was like, we would be wiped out. Tim Hortons is getting all this publicity, and shit, because obviously the Minnesota Canadian, thing and whatnot.
And there weren't really any of them around.
No.
And so there was actual excitement behind oh man, it's the first one in Minnesota.
Right, exactly, and shit. I was like, fuck, we're going to be doomed, and stuff like that. And it happened, they opened up, people, obviously that excitement and stuff like that, people going to, we saw a hell of a dip in sales, and stuff like that. But what's funny, after a couple months, we started seeing stuff coming back in a way. It was slow, because I tried their shit. I was like, I want to know if it's good or not. And honestly, it was so shitty, and it's a testament because they're not even fucking here anymore. That place closed down a while ago and whatnot, along with all the other Tim Hortons and shit.
Right.
But I was like, damn, people really eating this shit, I give people the roses if it's good, if a ball player dunks on me or whatever, I'm like, you dunked on me because you're fucking awesome, and shit. Hands down, I can't talk shit. But I was like, these things are disgusting, bro. And then shortly over time, I feel like people started noticing that too. It's like, yo, let me check out that donut shop that I kept passing on the way here. Yeah. And shit. And then people, you can start to see it. People are like, yo, this shit is way better than that shit I was having, and whatnot. And then, but I was just like, I can't trust this fool, and literally the day he came back was like, yo, so do you want to do an extension? I was like, no. I was looking for an exit plan. That's what it was. And that's when the food truck started up. Because I was like, damn, what am I going to do? I need someone, I can't trust this fool. We've looked at, a bunch of different other places, but it was nothing what made sense, at least, and stuff like that. And obviously, working with Alec, when I came in, he had a trailer and one food truck. And then up until we had our shop this 2 years, he had 5. So it's the writing was right there on the wall, and Shane was like, get a food truck. And I was like, okay, and shit. And I was like, I want to get my food truck from Cali. So when we went back there, I got this food truck that we still use and stuff like that. Got it for hella cheap. I mean, it looks like I got it for hella cheap. But I was just like, okay. And I sat on that thing for a while. I ended up shipping it out here, but I sat on that food truck for a minute, and stuff like that, up until he came and was like, do you want to sign out? I was like, nah, fuck you. And literally moved everything out of the shop and directly into the food truck and started literally 2 weeks later. It was just kind of a seamless transition.
Did you have to get that food truck license?
Yeah, for sure.
How were you able to do that so quickly? Were you already kind of working on that?
Yeah, it was slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've heard food truck licensing can be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, but it also depends on what you're selling. For me, if you have raw meats and all this shit and whatnot, yeah, but it's you're fucking with flour and sugar and dry ingredients.
And are you prepping and baking them in the truck or
no?
Okay, but that probably helps a bunch then.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Because it's really just a means of delivery.
Yeah,
that probably makes licensing process. Because I know that places that have the griddle in the back, that's where it gets really dicey. Yeah. You hear a lot of people getting shut down or denied.
And it's expensive, dude. Yeah. You gotta have your vents and HVAC system and all that stuff on it. And plus I didn't want to be driving around whipping that truck with hot grease in the back, you know, and stuff. And even then, our model was at the shop, it was really just a drop site more than anything. We manufacture all our donuts still at Potters, and then we would pack them up in the truck and then drop them off, roll the speed right.
Oh, so even the shop you weren't making them there?
Yeah, because it was only 600 square feet. I had when we were looking at doing it, when we were building out the shop and stuff like that, we looked into the option of getting a kitchen, but it was like if you have this many students, you need to. It was like I don't have 40 grand to fucking. I might have that in student debt, but
that's interesting because I think a lot of the time you just like you hear business owners go, no, "We have to make it here." Why?
Right.
Just because this is where people are coming. It has to be
Exactly.
made here, and it's like maybe, but how important is it that they're made
Right.
here if they're really good or if they're made this morning and shipped
Right.
over?
Exactly.
It's interesting. Especially because food trucks are something that's just like people dig food trucks like no matter what it is, and like food trucks are so popular that it's like people don't maybe they just assume it's made there or whatever, but
Right.
it's like you the food truck opens up this brand new channel, and so you're 2 weeks, you've got the food truck up and rolling, you're just out of your place.
Yeah, literally, like fucking packed up all the shit, dropped all the stuff that we didn't need at the back at the kitchen, and stuff, and
then because you weren't producing there, you're not tied to that lease.
that's why I was like, yo,
that's interesting.
That's why I didn't give a fuck. You
Yeah.
know, I was like, I don't give a fuck, and shit like that. Like, it's not like I put $1 million like Tim Hortons into to build the place out. I'm not tied to shit. We probably put like $2,000 into the shit. Most of the stuff we built up north at Ashley's parents' house, that was fucking sexy as hell. I love that. I miss that shit. But like most stuff we built, and whatnot, and that's what it was. And then like it was a lot learning the game though. Like I thought I was like, here we are. I'm glad I have the name behind me and blah blah. But it's such a stark difference between even parking in Dinkytown, being in Dinkytown, and then driving to, let's say, like Gold Medal Park, which is only like 5 minutes away, but no one heard of you, really. And shit. So we can be I'll be waiting on the curb, get there at 6 a.m. Like, and not Gold Medal Park, but a lot, especially over by where the Viking Stadium is, just in that little plaza right there, where like a lot of other trucks were parking. And like, I'll get there at like 6 a.m. and then be there until like 3 and only make like, $300-$400, and shit. I was like, dude, this isn't working.
It's not sustainable.
No, it wasn't.
How many days a week were you operating the food truck?
Every day. Every day, dude. We're out there grinding, and stuff like that. And then I started like getting the game from Alec, and then also a lot from myself, and stuff like that. I was like, dude, I can't be sitting out here for this long, bringing home $300-$400, and shit. That's not worth it. And then I was like, I went back to the same mindset that was like how I started this shit, really working, twerking, getting in, connecting with people. And that's when shit really started picking up. It was like, okay, I don't want to just park here. In fact, I don't want to just park and wait for people, and shit. And then we just started hitting up different businesses and be like, yo, like I have this donut food truck. Cause I was like, I'm the only donut food truck, even to this day, on the street, and like just that itself, now having that, obviously having different desserts, but donuts, and shit like that. Just going to different, say if like this was a office plaza, find out who the property manager was, and I'm giving people hella gold right here, and shit. Find out who the property manager was and just be like, hey, donut food truck, you don't have to pay us shit, but let's work in cahoots to be like, yo, send an email blast out to everyone that we'll be here from, 8 to fucking 10. And that's it, and shit. And like, we'll fucking make like $1,200 in that 2 hours, type shit, and I was just like, yes. But then I started getting a little dicey because sometimes property managers get lazy, and shit like that.
And you show up and it didn't go out, and then
it's like, or like put it out that morning, but you wouldn't know that, and shit like that. And like sometimes you'll see different places that would just be like, dude, you're just like, you're not going hard, and stuff like that. Like, I'm showing up for y'all like on time and everything. I haven't missed a day. I tell you what, and keeping that communication. Like, I need you to do your part, and yeah. So that's kind of like where we're at right now. And like, obviously as stuff started picking up now, like, and then it was like the same thing that happened with the shop. It was like, people start reaching out, you're in magazines, you're getting interviews, you're getting this and stuff like that, and whatnot. You're really plugging yourself into that food truck community. Then people start booking you out, and it's like, oh shit, okay, and like every year it's been like that. It's like people start hitting us up for like months in advance for shit, and it's awesome, and I'm grateful to have that, and stuff like that. But it's a lot of work though, dude. Like, it's a fucking shit ton of work. You know? And for me, my biggest accomplishment is not even like having the fucking the truckware. It's like not having to be in the kitchen. That, like, I look back, I'm like, dude, that's my biggest accomplishment. It's like to wake up in the morning, get a text message from my head baker and be like, yo, shit's good, you know, and all I had to do is go there and check out the product. It looks cool. And then just fucking load up the shit and head out to wherever the fuck go. That's like my biggest.
So how'd you find them? How'd you find your team to be able to do that?
Through a lot of trial and error, bro. A lot of trial and error. Some crazy stories, you know.
'Cause that's terrifying when it's your own recipe. You got someone that, no matter how excited they are about it, like,
right.
It's not you. They don't know the work that's gone into it. And so even as passionate as someone can be, it's still terrifying to let a new person take control of something that you've had complete control of up to that point.
Yeah.
And so how do you even reach out to find someone to potentially do it?
Yeah. Like I said, just going to, I had to fire a lot of people. Some people just didn't show up the next day because, like, a lot of people would think it's just cute.
Yeah.
You know, and shit. It's like, oh, I'm going to make donuts. It's like, nah, dude, we're working.
Right.
You know, it's hot. It's fucking sweaty. We're over a hot grill, you know, like a big ass frying thing, you know, and stuff like that. Like, it's not cute. There's nothing cute about this. Like, we getting dirty, you know?
Yeah.
But people were like, oh, dude, on your Instagram, it looks like so much fun.
Right.
You know? And it's like, nah.
Yeah, we get the same thing. That's man, you guys are just having fun, hanging out all the time. You're like, it's so much work.
Yes,
and it's like it's 100% on you how things do, especially when you're really small. Mm-hmm. How are you even? Are you using like websites or like hiring platforms? How are you even putting the word out that you need bakers?
A lot of websites. You know, reaching out to people first. Like I feel like I go through like my 3 stages hiring. It's like I always reach out through like my personal contacts, you know, and stuff like that. That are not people who I personally know, but it's like, I don't want to work with you because I want to maintain our friendship. Mm-hmm. But if you know anyone else, like, and even then, if they know someone else, you know, and shit, because I want so many degrees of separation, you know, and shit. And then I go through like, you know, Craigslist, Facebook, and Indeed. And it all started with one person. You know, I'm not going to say her name right now because I know she wouldn't want me to put her out like that, but she came to me and she's fucking awesome. Like, I've had and worked with her. I don't like to say like they work for me. I just say I work with them, right? You know, and stuff like that. We've been working together for like 3 or 4 years now, bro. Like, she came in, she was like super excited, you know, wanted to learn, was vulnerable, you know, and stuff like that. And even if she fucked up, like, she'll try it again, you know. I love that grit. Mm-hmm. And that's all I needed was just one more person, you know, because we can have a kid, you know, and stuff like that. We got a mortgage and shit like that. Ashley can't be back here all the time with me. Plus, she got a job too, you know, and stuff. So I was like, if I can get one person with me, that would be perfect. And then I got her, and it was me and her for the longest. And then it was like one more other person, and it's like, yo, these skills that like I'm passing down to you, and like skills that you also put me on, like, take the reins, you know, and shit. And it all started with that person. Like, we both play sports. That's how you look at it. It's like your roster, right? Yeah. You know, you got your fucking quarterback and shit. Now, like, you good.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that she's just a really hard worker, because I think in food business, you think the people who are going to have the most success or be the best people to work with are like, oh, they're just incredibly talented or they're creative or this and that. But it's like, I think that just being a hard worker is far and away the number one characteristic. Like, you look at Jeff with me over at Folly and you go, well, he must be really successful at what he does because he's just a naturally gifted taster, which he is, or because this all just comes natural to him. But like, behind that door, he's working harder than anyone to get to that level. Same thing with Brandon on the cold brew side. Right. It's like, the customer facing side is casual. It's like, we're chilling, we're roasting coffee, we do love it, but then you look behind it and it's like, one of the things that keeps me motivated is knowing that those guys will outwork me if I let up. Exactly. So it's almost like this weird competition to be like, I'm not gonna let them work harder than me, and they feel the same way, hopefully. And
that's funny you say that about competition, because it's like I want you to be better than me. Like, she looks at me like, because I can roll donuts like that are always perfect, like in a shit, like really fast, you know, and she's like, I want to be like that, you know. And I'm like, well, I want to fucking be able to fry perfect. I suck at frying donuts, dude. I fucking suck at frying donuts, but she is like a fucking wizard. Like, she'll be like, boop boop boop. I'm like, I want to be like you, and you no, and it's like that competition, you know. It's like, all right, well, fuck it, you know what? You roll donuts, and I'm gonna fuck it up on the fryer.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like that. It's like that weird, you know, and shit. So I love that.
Yeah, and I think leadership in any business, small or big, it's the person in charge, quote unquote. Like that person has to be the person that everyone looks at to how it's done.
Right.
And I think really good leaders are ones like what you just said. You're not going to say I'm the best at everything.
Yeah.
You're going to say you're better at this. And then I think that's a really good way to look at it. So this year has been a really cool year. Everything about 2020 is like really dope. I've loved everything about it.
That's nice.
No, that I'm lying. So what is, because winters for food truck, I have to imagine, are much slower.
I don't operate during winter at all.
Yeah, so like really you're pumping your business through the summer, but we hit March 16th, COVID comes along, they shut everything down.
Right.
What did that do? Did you have, I have to imagine you had some stuff booked out?
Oh, dude, our calendar is packed, you know, like, and it always starts with like the top three. It's like, you know, all the food truck festivals, like Uptown Food Truck Festival, like,
basically just anywhere that large groups of people are gathered.
All our money makers where it's like, you know, everyone leaves home happy, like that type of shit. You know, like the people who worked at food truck, it was like, I just made fucking, you know, $300, dude. You know, like from working on a food truck, you know, like crazy shit that everyone's happy across the board. Like those types of things, those went. Weddings went. This went. That went. You know, it's like, it sucked. You know, we're still dealing with it, right? You know, and stuff like that. Like, and it threw everything off guard. Like, usually it's like April, whatever. I get the truck, prep it, and then we're on the streets. It's like, that's not the thing. I'm so in limbo right now that I just don't even feel like normal in a way. Like, this doesn't feel like a summer having all this free time in a way. You know, it just feels weird. But
that feeling is so hard to explain to people. They're like, "Oh, you have more free time. Isn't that a good thing?" You're like, the one of the worst and best things about doing small business is that when you have free time, it doesn't feel good. Yeah. When you have free time, it means that like something's wrong.
Right.
And so someone might hear that and be like, "Yeah, you got free time," but when you're the one running it, it's like free time's not a good thing, especially during busy season.
Exactly, dude. And it's like, I mean, I can look at it as a loss, you know, but in other ways, you gotta look at it as like this time to reset and, you know, really get on those housekeeping items, all those small items that really starting to pile up, you know, and that's what I've been doing is just cutting those down, you know, and stuff and refining things and looking at different things and stuff like that and whatnot. Because I don't even know if I'm going to pull a food truck out. I probably won't. It's like not even worth it to me at this point. You know, I'm happy that I don't really have any overhead, you know, and shit, so that's nice. But it's just like, at this point, it's not even worth it, dude. We're in June. Like, June, we fucking be rolling, you know, and shit. Like, we killing it, you know, and stuff like that. And it's like, whatever. Yeah,
and you got to cancel the fair however many months out. You have to imagine that public group gathering is not going to grow to the point where it's you're going to be able to book an event this year where it would even be worth it to get the thing rolling.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, I could have done, you know, maybe some things here, but it's like that just I wasn't ready for that and like and whatnot. And tell the truth, I don't have that pressure. Like one thing that Alec told me is like always diversify, you know, your shit. Like he'll tell me, he'll be like, yo, I don't want to make pasties forever. You know, and shit. Like, do you want to make donuts forever? As much as I love it, as many doors as open, it's like, this is not some shit that I want to do my whole life. You know, and stuff. So that's like really when the real estate, you know, thing came in, you know, and stuff like that. And like, because of that, like, I'm not pressured to have to be out there on the truck every day and stuff like that. And
so how did you get into that?
Yeah. So, real estate was something that I kind of always like subconsciously was aware of that I wanted to do, but I didn't know. You know, and stuff. I had, like, my mom did it. Like, I have, like, my grandfather and stuff. They have their own contracting business and whatever. My mom was a realtor. And stuff like that. And I have friends, especially McDonald's, whose parents were just, like, ultra successful at it. You know, they were just, like, fuck. You know? But it was, like, looking at that, it was, like, this is so big, I don't even know where to start. Yeah. You know, and shit. Like, your dad is like barely ever home anyway. Like that's why we're always partying at your house because the motherfucker's always gone. So I can't talk to him about shit. You know, like so, like I just didn't know. And I think it happened like one winter. Like I just had it off. I was like, I'll get my real estate license. So I signed up for a course, got licensed, And like for me, I was like, I don't like. It was like my motivation was two things. It was like, one, I never want to be that vulnerable again, and two, I want to be able to educate myself and others too, and then obviously sell houses and shit. Because like when we bought our first house, like you could have told me anything. You could have been like, oh, this place is like this and that. I'd be like, sure, where can we sign? And shit. And like I look back at like that, I'm like, dude, she could have sold us anything or whatever, and we could have been fucked.
Yeah.
And shit. Luckily that didn't happen. And then got my license. I was like, yo, I want to sell houses, blah blah. And then once I got into it, like, and started like talking to realtors and being like a buyer rep and listing agent and shit like that, I was like, it's a lot of fucked up shit in this business. Like, fools don't give a fuck, and shit. It's like all about their commission check, and stuff. Like, I can't tell you how many houses I've been in that are like, yo, that's not right. Like, this is someone's home that's gonna have kids, it's gonna build a family, and you're like trying to like fucking cover this like really big flaw up that might not happen now, but in 5 years, like, these dudes are gonna be on the hook for 15 grand. That's not cool. That didn't sit with me. And like dudes like look at me in straight face. Be like, okay.
Homes to me are one of the weird things that is easily going to be the biggest purchase you make in your life. But because it's so big, human psychology is almost like, oh, if this house is $200,000, what's another $20,000?
Right.
But if you look at anything else in your life and they're like, this thing costs $20,000, you're like, right. No.
Yeah.
And so that's always been the weirdest thing about homes to me is like, even with realtors taking, I don't know, what's the standard commission that a realtor might take?
It's like 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5% that you're paying them.
Yeah.
You go, oh, that doesn't seem like that big of a number. But when you look at it in terms of thousands of dollars they're making, like, it's almost like, oh, that's the industry standard because I know nothing about it. And so to me, it's like, that's the industry standard. But I don't have a home that I've bought. But when I do, I would look at that and be like, why are they getting paid that much? What are they offering outside the fact that they're licensed?
Right.
And it's almost like the real estate license is something that's like, oh, I just have to have someone licensed, so you're closest to me.
Exactly.
As opposed to like expecting them to add value to the process.
Right, exactly. And like, what's crazy is the amount of power and influence these dudes have, and shit. Like, dudes can like literally single-handedly, like if and like 5 other realtors who had like some pretty serious clout, we can literally fucking come in a neighborhood and just like fuck it up in a good way or a bad way. Like, for real, it's scary, dude. Yeah. Like, for real, you start putting out word like this, like, it's crazy. And it's like, dude, like, this isn't cool. And I was just like, I want to step back from that, and whatnot. And like, if my friends hit me up anytime, like, about, like, they're having, like, they want to do this or think about it, like, I just give it to them raw and give them straight. And for me, I was like, I'm just going to become a buyer. Let's start buying properties, and stuff like that. And like, what's crazy is like, buying property in a way is it's exactly like opening your own business and running it, like how we looked at the margins of like donuts and coffee. It's exactly like that, and shit. It's like, say we buy this property for $200K. All right, what's the average like rental income on it? Like, where are the cap rates? What's the operating income? And shit like that. And then at the end of the day, like, if we can rent out five, just to make it simple before I like start throwing out those terms. About a 5-bedroom house is $200K, right? My mortgage is $1,500, but I can rent each bedroom out for $500. That's sexy, right? That's pretty hot. And on top of that, like, the only bill that you're really paying is trash, which let's say is $300 a month. Like, I'm still taking home almost 50%, like, in profit, and shit. Just whatever. And stuff. I could be a slumlord and let this shit run to the ground and still just be collecting checks no matter what. But that's not me. Yeah. But it's crazy. It's kind of it's moderately passive in a way. Because one shit can fuck up and you can be like, fuck, which I've had that happen to. Yeah. But like, it's nice. To just be like, dudes calling you and be like, yo, I got your rent check for you. And it's like, that's hot. And stuff like that. And to grow that and scale it is sexy. Yeah. So, and that's just shit that you're just doing on the side, and stuff like that. It's like. So what do you consider doing on the side at this point? Real estate or donuts? Right. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing kind of both, bro. Like right now with donuts, we kind of pivoted. In a way, like for me, my this summer, this season, I was like, I don't want to be on the truck every day, just dipping and dabbing here, because I'm getting sick and tired of like these half-ass like property managers, you know, and stuff like that. I want more control in my book. That's especially after the incident happened when we moved out of our brick and mortar. I was like, I never want to be in that position, you know, and shit. Like, I want control. Like, if I open up another brick and mortar, I'm fucking going to own the building. You know, if I want to do this, I'm overseeing and have direct contact to those people. So, I was like, I'm not doing the truck unless like I have like actual events already booked out and we could do a truck all day like that. But then weirdly enough, like what really was popping, something that I never really paid attention to, that was just like cool little side money to bring in, was farmers markets, bro. Yeah. Like farmers markets, you can fucking like ball out, dude. Like we did, our first farmers market I did was Prior Lake. Shout out to them. We still fuck with them. They go hard. And like
Prior Lake goes hard.
Prior Lake goes hard. You heard
it here probably literally first.
People bring their checkbook though, dude. Real talk. Like my home dude's girl at the time was like, "Yo, you should come to our fucking farmers market." I was like, "What the fuck is a farmers market?" And so whatever, we paid the shit, paid our rent, paid our booth fee, which is like $50, you know, every Saturday. And like we made like, I think I just sent like 10 dozen donuts out, you know, and shit, and came back and we sold all of them like hella early too. We sold out early. And like I won't even name her, but I love her though. Like she was like, "Yo, you can't be fucking up like that, yo. Like if you sell out like an hour early, that doesn't make me look good and whatever, you know." And plus on top of me, it's like, damn, that's more money I'm missing out on. Yeah. But it was our first time. She understood whatever and shit. I was like, dude, we just made like $500 and something, like straight cash, you know, like straight cash, dude. And I was like, okay, cool, you know, and that's just some fuck off shit.
So this makes me, the farmer's market angle. So did you already have vegan donuts at that point, or was it something that you just discovered? Oh, our donuts happen.
Yeah, that's funny.
Because I think I remember you mentioning that you're like, you heard about vegan and you're like, wait, our donuts are vegan.
Right. No, so it was funny, like, I didn't really realize, like, how important it was to actually, like, label things. You know, for me, it's donut, you're fucking eating bullshit, you're going with it. You know, you're going with that mind that it's like, yo, it's greasy, blah, with sugary. Cool. Yeah. But then, like, I didn't really notice about allergies and stuff like that. And I'm like, I would, like, look at our race donuts. I was like, oh, like our donuts are dairy free and nut free, you know, and stuff. And that was important to some of the people who were coming in whose kids wanted to try it.
When you're talking farmers markets, pull out the list,
right, dude? Like, it was crazy. And then I was like, I can't just have race donuts. We gotta diversify the roster, you know. So I was like, I want cake donut, and it just so happened that the recipe that I made for cake donuts was actually vegan. So it's funny, our cake donuts are vegan regardless, you know, shit, depending on what we put on top of them, but the base is vegan. Yeah. And like, because a lot of people come in and be like, do you have any vegan donuts? Do you have gluten-free donuts? I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and shit. But I'm just looking at a customer, 3 that I had to turn away. Yeah. You know, and shit. And then, like, it wasn't to my homegirl, I'll name her Kirsten. It was like, I was running through the recipe because she was like, yo, these are fucking good. And I was like, are they? Because I don't like our cake donuts. I'm not the biggest fan.
See, those are my favorites.
Yeah. People love those shit.
I love that.
I don't really like them. But she was like, yo, these are fucking legit.
They're legit. Those are my favorite that you make.
She was like, what's in these? I was like, a little bit of this, a little that, a little that. She was like, Bradley, this is a vegan donut. And I was like, oh shit. Like, so I got my cake donut and I got a vegan donut. But in Dinkytown, I wouldn't say it was vegan unless someone asked. Because, you know, you got a bunch of frat dudes come in who are eating cake donuts.
And that's isn't that funny? That like, if you told me this is a vegan donut, I'd be like, get that out of my face. Yeah. I'm not vegan, and I just assume everything vegan I've tried is a lower version of that thing.
Exactly, dude. So I would just shut the fuck up, you know, unless they ask for it. And we still do that to this day. That's the first thing when I hire someone, I was like, don't say it's vegan unless they ask. Yeah. Like, legit. Just shut up. You know? And they're like, but what? I'm like, no. Like, because I was like, all right. And literally, they'll come with me, especially at farmers market. I always use, like, training new employees and shit. And I'm like, that's a vegan donut. They're like, wait, what? You know, and shit. I'm like,
it's an interesting point, because I think a lot of people go, we have to market this because so many people are talking about it. But the actual percentage of people that are vegan is very small, but it's a very vocal crowd because it's hard to find stuff that's vegan. So when they find something, they get really, really excited and they spread the word. And I think because of that,
and they bring their checkbook too.
And I think businesses go, oh, these customers, there must be a lot of them because we're hearing about it a lot. But I think it's like, no, it's just that group of people is very, very passionate because it's hard to find really good vegan food.
Yeah, dude.
And so it is interesting that you're like, have it available.
Yeah.
But like you said, most people who are getting donuts, especially, I'm not getting this because I'm trying to eat healthy right now. I'm getting this because I'm trying to splurge.
Yeah, and that opened up a whole new sector for us.
Like not
even just vegan, you know, like which we do Veg Fest, which one of our favorite festivals. They go hard, and I love it. And it's even opened me up too to like the endless amount of quality vegan food that we have. They're just like, damn, this is vegan, and you wouldn't even know it, you know. And then also too, it was like it also kind of changed the model too for us as well, because like I was like with raised donuts, like those are very sensitive donuts. It's like, you know, after a couple hours they're not that good. But with our cake donuts, those things are like tanks, dude.
Yeah.
Like you can leave them sitting for, you know, days, like up to 3 days, and they'll still be super sexy.
Yeah.
And it also changed the way in which we prep things, because here I am now, I can make a bunch of cake batter mix and have that sit in a fridge or freezer for up to a month, and it could just be ready to go.
Yeah.
So now it changed that whole dynamic of like on demand baking, you know, and shit. Like whereas like during winter, like I'll just randomly get orders of like a couple of dozens. Like it won't be raised donuts, which would take hours to make.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, I'll go to the kitchen. I already have my pre-made buckets, pour them to the fucking things, do them up, and then boom, I can make like a dozen in like under an hour.
Yeah.
You know, that's hot. So it really changed that model and just add another layer.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. So I was just like, I'm grateful that, you know, our donuts, like, that came the way it did.
Yeah. That puts us at an hour right there. But I will say, I think the reason we get along so well is because it's like we'll figure out the thinking later. Like if we got a good idea or gut instinct about something, like let's just do it and go. I think you're the one person where I have to be like, all right, let's slow down for once. Like, so we're all right. We're doing this pop up at Able to try to fund north, you know, the rebuilding the north side. And even I was like, yes, let's go. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, wait, I actually got to take a step back here and be the guy that's like, hey, let's play this out a little bit more.
And it's funny because right after this we're gonna have talks about this shit, I'm sure. But no, and that's why I fuck with you though, because like every time I see you, it's always growth, you know, and shit like that. Like I can't tell you how many, and I'm grateful, you know, and stuff that people want to talk to me and like ask me like what to do in certain ways and consult with them and help them. But that shit gets tiring, you know, and it's like, and then I don't want to always be that person. Yeah. Like, I love being around people who are growing and shit like that. And it's like, yo, Rob, what are you doing? And it's like, oh, shit, I'm at Starbucks. And it's like, oh, now I'm fucking talking Walmart, like, type shit, you know? It's like...
I would never be in Starbucks, but I know you're saying.
You know, it's like, bro, like, that shit makes me want to keep going, you know? Instead of, like, you know... And I'm not trying to put people down or whatever. It's just, it just gets tiring. It's like... You offer your services and all this like knowledge and experience that you work so hard for to give it to someone who's just like blabbing, who probably won't do shit with it, you know. It's like kind of like a waste of time.
If I'm being completely honest, you kind of start to notice it of people that are reaching out to you, and you can tell that they're like, I want your advice, just so you can tell me what to do, and then also tell me how to do it, and then also help me do it, and I don't think it's most people's intention, but I think people unintentionally do that, and they don't know that they're basically asking you to take on a project. It's like, hey, in our first year I probably would do all that just to be a part of something, but time gets more and more limited, and so when I approach somebody, my whole thing is like, I will only approach somebody for advice. And I learned this kind of the hard way when people I talked to got distant, and I was like, why is that? And I realized, I was doing nothing but taking advice. So now when I approach people, I'm like, I only want to ask for help or advice if I think in the long run that I could do something in return or help them in some way or provide something of value. So I'm pretty over the top about any time I ask advice. I try to come with something that could help them too. And I think that's a good point, is that don't ask advice just to ask it so that person feels like you're engaged. Like only do it if you're legitimately looking for that advice, because too many times you're like, oh, you don't care what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, you really don't care.
Yeah,
You just wanted to, it's the person at the end of like a class lecture and any questions. Well, they ask a question because they feel like they should.
Right.
And it's like, oh, you don't really care about that. You just wanted to make sure they knew you were asking a question.
Or like even at that moment, they just feel motivated, or inspired. And then the next week they're not, it's like.
There's a big difference between motivation and just like doing real work.
Right.
And motivation's nice. Like I love watching videos and getting motivated for a couple hours, but it's like that's not what success is in the long run. And I wouldn't even consider us a success at this point. No. And I think most people I know with successful businesses, they would never consider themselves successful. Even the people who are wildly successful. It's a weird mindset.
Exactly. And it's crazy, it's like, but I think the separation is like people who just, they see it and they do action, but sustain that action. It's like, and I don't want to extend this, but I think it's
no big deal.
One thing that sucks, and the biggest thing is I see so much potential, but especially people in our age group, they're so scared to take an L, bro. Like the single-handed thing, like I can look back on some of my reviews and like, people haven't had the best experience, or they thought my shit was shit, but I don't give a fuck, like, you just keep going.
And even further than being scared on taking the L, they're scared of not being the next huge thing. And that's always blown my mind is, I always get immediate questions like, what's your exit strategy? What's your 5-year, 10-year plan? What's your exit strategy? What do you need to be valued at to flip this? And I'm like, man, I didn't know if I'd make it to 2 years. Like, I'd be more than happy to have a business that sustains and I can do what I like long term.
Yeah.
But in our generation, it's like this whole thing. You start a business, you scale it up, 5 years, flip it, and you're done. And it's like, obviously, that'd be awesome to, but like those don't happen.
Right.
Like when they do, it's like a huge funded whatever. Yeah. But it's like, I think what I was saying is like, you and I just like, go ahead and do it. Yeah. Like, let's figure it out if this works. Well, why do you think it might work? I don't know if it will, but I'll know real quick.
Right, exactly.
Because we're about to do it.
Exactly. Just fail as fast as possible, bro. Literally. I want to fall flat on my face, like out the starting gates, like off the blocks, and then fuck it up afterwards, and shit. Like that's probably some of the biggest piece like that I like gems I've received ever. Yeah. It's just fuck up fast. And that's it. Cause like wouldn't you rather fuck up like on an operating budget of $5,000 than like $500,000?
Yeah.
Like, and then that's when you fucking with people's livelihood, dudes who are committed to you, who moved here from different towns, who bought houses and blah. And then I wouldn't be able to really take that. Yeah. And shit. Like I'd rather just be like, yo, we fucked up. And shit, damn, but like, looks like I'm not gonna get like my Cinnabon pack every Tuesday or whatever. Like I can live with that shit. Yeah. That's cool. But like, yeah.
It's a different approach to business too. Is keeping overhead low so that when you're failing fast early, like you can figure that out. And that's the way we're doing it too.
Exactly.
And, it makes it less scary, but there is a point where you go like, hey, maybe we do put on the gas and go bigger at some point. But you can figure it out as you go. That's well over an hour here, so I'm gonna cut it off here just because we kind of keep it at that, because I could talk like this all day. And so thanks for coming in, man. We'll talk about this pop-up and we'll get that popping here soon.
Fuck yeah, bro.
And I'll finish it and just say have a nice day.